So my name is Sharona Sagi. I run the resource sharing group in Exlibris, which is responsible for um, both Rapid ILL, which we're going to talk about today, and Rapido, which is our new resource sharing solution. And today I want to talk about, how really resource sharing and the power of being part of an international community really helped libraries at these special times, and how we can further work on that aspect. So I wanted to start by, sorry. By talking about really the amazing power of the community that we've been able to see during embrace of the COVID pandemic around the world. And we started with an initiative already early in March, identifying the current situation around the world, in which we opened up Rapid ILL, our document delivery solution, to essentially anybody who needed help in getting articles and book chapter scans at a time where most of the libraries, or almost all of the libraries, were closed, no access to our print collections. So we did two things. First of all, we asked our amazing Rapid ILL community. We have right now 350 customers using Rapid around the world. We asked them if they will be willing to participate in a special group that will allow them to send scans of their print collections or articles from their electronic collections with other libraries that need in the world. And we had 182 institutions worldwide that agreed to help. And that's how we started the offering to the community. Just some interesting statistics to share. During the 15 first weeks that we've been offering this service to the community, over 25,000 articles were filled by the Rapid community. In average, each lender of the 182 lenders, on average, handled 9 requests from libraries around the world that needed help. And I think, and I'll talk about the community later, I think that was a great attribution to what a community can really do, and how the community can really change things. We came out with a short movie showing the reactions from the borrowers that were on this initiative. I just added some of them here. We got a lot of reactions around the world. I hope some of you might have seen this movie, but essentially, I think really looking into reactions from libraries, it was really heartwarming to see the borrowers that joined Rapid really finding this to be the right solution in the right time. And you can see reactions from different universities in Europe that were using this opportunity, this initiative, and how it really helped them at this time. So I think one of the really emotional one came from this library in Milan, which were in the midst of Lombardy, the midst of the COVID situation, and we're really grateful about the ability to get help from the community. But other countries, this is from Spain, had the same feeling. So it was really exciting to see what a change a community do when they help each other. So, we are all starting, some of us are starting to get back to, at least to our universities, to our libraries. I think we're still far from being at a normal situation, and there's a real question as to what is going to be the new normal. Clearly, COVID is still here to stay, and I think it has the changes that we've had with COVID are going to potentially continue also in the future, and things are going to change. And I think one of the things we have seen with libraries is the fact that libraries are really able to adjust, the agility that we've seen across the world. And I'm sure during this series, we've been talking about innovation and agility of libraries. It was clearly evident in this very special time. This is just one example, and we'll share the slides. I'll share this YouTube movie. I thought it was a very creative way of libraries trying to handle the new situation and be creative with how we show the new services. This is a movie about the curbside for pickups and drop-off of books by libraries. So lots of change going throughout our library, regardless of resource sharing. But I think specifically for resource sharing, we also see definite things and trends that are happening there. So this is one example about from a library talking about the fact that when they did go back to the library and they started, removing deflections from their print materials, then the need is huge. Article requests are, even though we are in a summertime, still getting a lot of requests for scans coming into our universities. And I think the bottom line is that we are going to see a situation where demand is going to continue, both in terms of our users and their expectations. So we do see users' expectations continuing to grow, needing to get the resources at the point of need. They want it, anytime, anywhere, online. So demands are just growing from our users' expectations. And from the other hand, we do see the budget cuts on the libraries, potentially implications on the collections that we subscribe to and the number of resources we can offer our end users. And we do see resource sharing as having to dramatically change in order to allow us to be in a situation where we can continue to meet the demand, even improve the demand, although we don't have any bigger budgets, not in terms of our capacity from personnel and also from our collections. And we do know that a lot of libraries today still have people that are on prolonged. They not everybody went back to the library. Student help that we had before is currently stopped. So we do need to see how we can become more effective and try to use the existing resources to do much more in order to meet the needs of our users. And there's a big issue here because, when we still, many of the libraries are not sending or not have any availability to their print collections, we need to find a way to really effectively find lenders that might have the material our patrons needs and have them available for resource sharing, and then try to get the resources from them. And I'll talk further on about the way Rapid ILL really solves this very specific problem. So Rapid ILL is a solution that was created by resource sharing librarians at Colorado State University, and it was a solution that was really created to answer the very, very unique need of both article and book chapter loans. It's a solution that is a complementary to existing resource sharing tools, so it's not a standalone solution that you implement. It goes hand in hand with existing solutions that you probably use today, so working on top of OCLC solutions, on top of Clio, and also, of course, together with Alma. And I think, and the great attribution to that was what we were able to do during our COVID offering is that what's really unique about Rapid ILL, I think about what resource sharing solutions needs to be, is that it's a community-centered product. It's not just about the technology, it's about the community of customers using it. It is built around this community, which today, as I said, has over 350 libraries worldwide. And there are two things that make it a very unique and very community-centered. The first one is that anybody who joins Rapid ILL agrees to a 24-hour delivery time. So the community that is using Rapid is expecting a fast turnaround time. for both article and book chapter requests. And also, the community agrees to have no charges between one another. So it's a completely reciprocal tool. You lend pretty much the same as you borrow, and therefore libraries do not charge one another. So lots of cost savings, not just in terms of the cost of the articles, but also the fact that librarians don't need to waste time on invoicing and collection of those small amounts between libraries. There is no need to do also negotiation between libraries. It's really, really clear. Anybody on Rapid has the same terms. So it makes it really easy to onboard, and that's how we could actually onboard. During this period, we onboarded around 250 libraries that never used Rapid before joining this initiative, and very, very quickly they were able to just start using the system and leverage the community behind it to really get their articles and book chapters fast. And the way we see Rapid working, and really the fact that we want to leverage becoming part of an international community, is the fact that Rapid is built with the concept of what is called in Rapid pods. Pods essentially are groups of libraries that are willing to share resources with one another. And Rapido has a few types of groups. The first type of group is a country level pod. We already have an Australian pod, an Israeli pod, a UK pod, and we are creating new country level pods as customers are joining us now. We have customers that started joining us from Belgium, and we also are working with groups across Spain and Italy to potentially create those kinds of country pods. But beyond country pods, we also have special material pods. So the first example is a medical pod that we have within Rapid ILL for any medical libraries that are a part of Rapid. And then we have academic level pods. So based on your academic level, you're able to join different pods of libraries that are sharing resources with one another. And we also have what we call a Cosmopod. Cosmopod is a pod that any library can join. Typically, most of our libraries, most of the 350 libraries currently join the Cosmopod, which means that if you are onboarding Rapid, you actually expose yourself to a very, very big community, lenders and borrowers that can share with one another in a very clear and agreed terms. And the fact that it's an international community also helps in terms of helping us getting the material faster. So one of the concepts of the Rapid software is that we have what we call time zone awareness. So potentially if I'm a patron in Europe, let's say I'm a patron in the UK, and I would request an article at the end of my day when the library is already off hours, then this request can go to somebody in the East Coast in the United States, or the West Coast, or somebody in Australia. And that way, the end user's experience or patron's experience is that sometimes they would even get a request even at 8 o'clock in the evening directly into their email. So it's a really, really fast and great experience in terms of our end users in the way they can actually get the resources without having to be dependent on the hours of the libraries. So we do use the fact that we have an international community within our algorithms to be able to try and match the best lenders, also looking into geography, which with the document delivery, articles and book chapter scans is not a barrier, on the contrary. So we are not specifically looking for lenders within your country. As long as copyright permits, we are also able to get lenders from different locations that can try to get you the resources faster. So the unique features of Rapid ILL, and I think these are unique features that are generally things that I think talking about libraries of the future, which is the theme of all this series, definitely something we think is completely relevant when looking into solutions that will meet the needs of the future. So I think again I talked about it, but it's a very important feature of the product is the free article borrowing. So this is really helping libraries get into the product faster, be able to both see an ROI, joining Rapid, but also see a lot of savings in their time and effort in the fact that they can cut down on their invoicing and negotiation between specific institutions. It's also very precise in terms of the coverage of our holdings. So today in Rapid, we first of all support libraries that are expecting requests from their electronic collections only. So again, for libraries that are still blocked from getting access into their print collections, not able to lend anything that is not electronic. They can set themselves in Rapid as only accepting requests from electronic collections. But for print collections, one of the unique things that are developed in Rapid, and I think great attribution to the fact that it was actually developed by librarians, is that it has a very accurate holdings database. So when we send a request to a lender, we match the request not just to the specific journal, but also to the year and the volume that this journal is held. A lot of work is done with as part of the upload of the holdings to normalize the data. So whatever way of cataloging used to catalog the years and the volumes within your print collections is normalized. And the match level for lenders that get requests from Rapid is very, very high. It's also fully automated process, and I think that's one of the things that, especially we see it in Europe, that most of the tools and users today are using processes that are very mediated. And if we really want to make a change and be able to answer the demand of our users and make sure we give them the resources they need in an effective and fast way, we really need to try to be moving away from manual flows to flows that are as unmediated as possible, leaving the work of the resource sharing librarians to the really things that are hard to get. We'll always get those requests from the from staff, which are complicated to find, resources that are not that easy to locate. And that's where we should invest our work in. If it's very straightforward requests for things that are owned by many libraries, we basically believe that the solution should be fully automated, and I'll talk about that further. And then also to make sure that, unlike again today, in situations where libraries tend to pick the lenders they want themselves, based on their past knowledges of who is a good lender, within Rapid we have an algorithm to load balance libraries, so making sure that we don't overload specific members on the account of others. There is an algorithm that makes sure that you can get a balanced amount of lending requests each day to make sure that this is all working fine. So I want to talk a little bit about efficiencies, and I think that's a big thing we need to consider generally when we're talking about resource sharing, not just specifically about Rapid, and about really what we should do for adhering to the current and the future states. So lots of the things that are done today when trying to fulfill a resource sharing request are done manually, and lots of them are very repetitive. So typically, when one would get a request for resource sharing, there are things that librarians would do before they send the request to a lender. So you would validate your local inventory to see that you don't actually have a copy available, which was missed by the user that wanted to submit a request. You then probably look for open access alternatives. So if you could find an open access article, that would be something we'll be happy to send instead of sending a request. Then there's usually a very manual process, sometimes more automated, really depending on how you use it today, where we'll try to find the lenders that can fulfill the request. Typically, that will involve us looking into some sort of a shared catalog. It can be WorldCat, it can be a regional catalog that you might be looking into that will show you the potential holdings of libraries. Again, a lot of inaccuracy in terms of what libraries really hold with a specific volume and issue. So in many, many cases, even if you find somebody that has the journal that you're looking for an article from, that does not mean they have the specific item that you're looking for. And then, there is additional things that needs to be done for the process. RapidILL really automates all of that. We're checking your local inventory. We're looking for open access alternatives. We're doing all the routing to potential lenders automatically. And then also for the lenders themselves, the process is very, very efficient in terms of their ability to easily fulfill the requests. And also in the way we fulfill the request, we are bridging between lenders and borrowers. So essentially, a lender can be using one platform like Article Exchange from OCLC to be able to provide these documents to the users. The other side might be using Alma or any tool that they might be using to get their resources, and RapidILL sits in between as a bridge between those platforms. These are just two examples of the automation of the lending side. So with RapidILL, you get a lender slip as part of the request. So if it's a digital item, you get simply the call number with a URL to get to the article level. You get to the article, you download it, and then you upload it into the system. And if this is for a print journal, then the call number and location are already on the slip, and it's very easy to go and fulfill this request. So essentially, if we, to try to summarize the big changes here and the things that are done in Rapid is that we do see savings in mainly three big areas. Savings in the article costs themselves. So because there is no cost per article, if today, you're using solutions where you need to pay per article, it does create a situation where in many places libraries tend to restrict their users or specific user groups from getting requests through resource sharing, or sometimes restrict the number of loans they allow users to submit because of the costs. Using RapidILL, since there is no cost associated with that, then essentially those barriers can be taken off, and there is a potential cost savings, especially if you have very, very low volumes of articles and book chapters. We do also see savings in staff time. So we do, from our experience, see about 50%, and I would say a minimum of 50% improve the efficiency in terms of both the borrowing and lending side, really allowing you to work on higher volumes and see in case, we do foresee increased demand in resource sharing due to shrinking of collections. So really to be able to do that, we need to have something that's more efficient for our staff. And then also savings in terms of the patrons. So in terms of the delivery time, these are numbers based on 2019. And essentially, the average turnaround time for articles and book chapters through RapidILL was 12.4 hours. So although the time committed by members is 24 hours, we actually see the average being much lower, sometimes even, to the ability to get a request within an hour, or even immediately if we find a request in an open access repository. So I think really tremendous savings that are really aligned to the changes in time and the things we need today. So definitely budget cuts, staff cuts, and also having to meet the patron demand is something that is completely covered by moving to a more automated solution for these kind of processes. I also want to just briefly talk about what's going to be available soon from Rapid ILL for those of you who are already using the solution or familiar with the solution. So as I said, right now Rapid ILL is integrated with resource sharing tools, and it has a partial integration with Alma. So customers that have been using Rapid ILL as part of the COVID initiative were using a lot of the functionality on the Rapid ILL platform, but we are working right now on an integration that will be ready already in September, completed in October, between Alma and Rapid ILL. So essentially, the full integration will mean that everything will be done within Alma. So already today, requests are created in Primo, pushed to Alma, and then sent to Rapid ILL. But the full solution will mean that everything from borrowing and lending side will be done completely within Alma. So just to explain what it means, from borrowing side, you are able to create a process that is as unmediated as possible. So potentially, requests will be created in Primo, pushed to Rapid, filled by a Rapid lender, and then sent via email directly to the patron via a secure link without any intervention in the middle. Again, interventions are possible. Alma is very flexible. For those of you using Alma, I'm sure you know, so there can be mediation points at any point of the process, but essentially it is a process that can be automated, and I think customers that have been using it have been experiencing great feedback from their end users, really being able to get an article directly into their email in a few hours without any librarian work in the middle. But there will be, again, also things that can be done within Alma, and this is just a glimpse into the ability to work. Again, the Rapid ILL flow is very, very effective in the fact that that the process itself is completely streamlined. So where we are using the ISO protocol for everything that's done, but it's more out of the box. So for example, there is no conditional statements in Rapid. Borrower side has a special actions called not as cited. When the PDF you received is not what you were supposed to get. The lender side has a specific action called bad citation for the borrower side, but other than that, the process is completely done without any potential interaction between borrower and lender, really to make it effective and streamlined to really support the 24-hour delivery. So from borrowing perspective, all the actions will be available in Alma, and the same will go for lending side. I just wanted to add that from the lending side perspective, there are different types of flows to fulfill digital requests, and we do support all of them in Alma. So from the simplest flow where resource sharing staff does full process, including digitization, to a flow where digitization is done, including pick from shelf done by a branch, to the most complicated flow where the branch does the pick from shelf, and then there's a central digitization offer. So all these flows are supported in Alma and can be tweaked using Alma parameters to also work fully with Rapid ILL. And basically, that's the end of the things that I wanted to share about the product. I think I wanted to leave enough time to have questions and discussions on the offering and generally about the way resource sharing is changing in these very special times. So just sharing.
Thank you, Sharona. Thank you very much for your very insightful presentation. I just would like to take this opportunity to remind the audience to use the chat box or the Q&A box on the right-hand side on the bottom of your screen. Sharona, I received one question already. If you're ready, I'm just going to read it out for you. Mm-hmm. The first question I see in the system is the free COVID trial still open to join?
So yes, essentially, when we opened the free COVID trial, we said that the trial is open for over a 3 month period from the day that customers join, and it's going to be available until September 1st. So customers can still join, but it will be less than 3 months. It will end in September 1st. But there's still an opportunity to, if you're in a position right now that you feel that you need help getting resources. I mean, we are aware that this is a summer vacation, so demand might be lower, but basically the trial is open until September 1st. And in general, just to say that in general, Rapid ILL, the way we deploy Rapid ILL is that we typically offer a 2-week trial for customers. So even beyond this period, always offer a specific 2-week of a trial where you can experience the product and make sure that it meets your needs.
Okay, thank you. There's one more question I just received. Can we use Rapid ILL without Alma?
Yes, for sure. So Rapid ILL is agnostic to the ILS below it. To have a full integrated flow, you need either Alma or the solutions that I noted. So, we do support in Europe if you're using Clio, if you're using Relay from OCLC or Iliad, then we have a full integration. If you're not using any of those solutions, you're still able to use Rapid ILL as a standalone solution, just without the automation in terms of the automation from the discovery layer. So you will need to enter the request manually into Rapid, but the rest will be done automatically.
Perfect, brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, right now I don't see more questions coming in. Thank you very much, Sharona. To the audience, in case there's popping up a question later this afternoon, maybe during the week, please feel free to contact us via the email that you can read or see here on your screen, email@info@eclipsegroup.com. Again, thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much, Sharona, for your interesting presentation. We recorded the session, and I will make sure that the recording will go out later this week, that you will be able to share it with your colleagues as well. And right now, I wish you a very good rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.